shut it. Not this again.
So kids lie. They lie for many reasons. Adults lie too. But we learn at an early age that with lying comes one is we get a lot of attention, and kids love attention, especially if they feel neglected or they don't have enough of it. Plus, they can use that to be able to get out of trouble, be able to get some other else in trouble, to be able to protect themselves. So it isn't really that kids lie, it's actually a learning skill, and it's really actually quite adaptive. There's different situations that telling the blunt truth, even though people often use that as an excuse, well, it's just the truth, can be actually damaging, can hurt people's feelings, can hurt relationships. So white lies or lies that are to benefit people, even though I know I'm gonna get some flack for this, they're not a bad thing. Sometimes someone doesn't want to hear that, you know what, yellow isn't the best color on them, or they're looking really tired today, or their speech was terrible. It might be too much for people and actually cause damage or hurt people's feelings. So I think that we need to figure out and look into why children lie.
Pirates! The pirates are coming! They're attacking the village! Pirates, man the cannons! Batten the hatches!
Oh, batten your hatches, you idiot!
But that's the problem, is that if you get caught lying and lying or saying something and being incorrect over and over again, you undermine your own authority. People no longer trust you. And the problem with that is that what happens if it is true, or you actually need someone's trust? Then it's already been broken and people aren't going to believe you when you need them to actually believe you. And so that's what's happening with Usopp, is that no longer creates that kind of reaction from it. And he's still wanting whatever he used to get fed from doing this, but you can see that everyone's interactions with him now, he's kind of a ne'er-do-well. He's looked down upon and his words carry no weight. It's often that it's a maladaptive coping technique, that they want something, their bucket isn't being filled. It could be affirmation, it could be attention, it could be that we want to feel important. And so sometimes we're doing it because we have low self-esteem and we want people to believe that we're powerful or strong, or we think that we're boring. And so we make up these lies. But the problem is that you end up with this spider web of lies that are harder and harder to maintain, and you can sometimes lose yourself in the process.
I know they're coming any day now, but you're not. The great Captain Usopp will protect you.
When are you going to stop wasting your life, Usopp? It's pathetic.
The pirates are coming!
I do love that Usopp has this real positive happiness and energy, and it's interesting because, you know, from his backstory, you can understand if he would be grumpy or aggressive, but often our base level of who we are as a person doesn't actually change depending on what's happening all around us. And so he has this boundless positivity, even though everyone else is kind of looking down on him and asking him to stop or even calling him names. And I think that that's a really beautiful trait that Usopp has. And it's a little bit contagious. His joy is contagious.
It was guarded by a giant goldfish monster. I barely made landfall. Only, it wasn't land I was on. It was a massive piece of goldfish shit.
I don't think we can say that. I don't know, do I get one swear word? And I love the relationship. She gets this wonderful thing of these stories that are told to her that she can enjoy and live vicariously through him. And he has someone that listens and cares and affirms and validates, even though she knows that his stories aren't really true and these are really tall tales. I think that that's a beautiful friendship, and we often gather people around us that can kind of fill the cups that we're hoping to have filled. And for Usopp to be able to, one, have that affirmation and someone that looks at him instead of being an eyesore, instead of being a nuisance or someone that is disturbing the peace, but someone that brings them joy and care and enjoys his stories, even if they have to listen to them with a grain of salt.
Pirates! Pirates! Help! Pirates! Help, please! Help! Really are pirates! Enough, Usopp! Go on!
And that's the danger, is that when you need someone, and often we have that we really want people to be able to believe us, to listen, because there is an actual danger. It's the same thing that happens in households where parents or family members are often yelling. Well then, if there really is a danger, your child's running out into the street and you yell all the time, then when there actually is a need for you to shock them back into place and stop, because you've yelled all the time, it doesn't create the same reaction. They kind of just blow it off and they'll continue to run into the street or hurt someone. It doesn't shock them out of it. And so it ends up having this threshold that people are just used to that behavior from this person, and you no longer get what you used to get from it, but you'll keep on chasing that, or you'll get even worse. Tell taller tales, yell even louder, create a bigger disturbance in hopes that you'll still get that affirmation that you're no longer getting. And you see his face, that face of sadness, where he goes back to a place where he used to feel the same way. And we can often use that as a technique of when we feel down or upset or frustrated or angry to figure out, why do I feel this way? Why do I carry this emotion around? Or why do I do this behavior? If you have a flashback from your childhood or something that's happened in the past, it's really important because that's often a clue or a key as to why I do this behavior now, for the positives and for the negatives. You can use that to be able to heal that wound so that that new behavior can be changed much more easily. Because the only way that we can actually change a negative behavior is to be able to recognize it and to understand what were the reasons that we kind of followed that pathway in the first place.
Let me go, Mr. Morning.
It's really not funny, you know. I've had enough about the pirates now.
You know that I'm right about the pirates. Let me go.
He's at it again, Bankina, going on and on about pirates coming.
Because often what happens is that we take a skill that might have been adaptive or necessary, or the way that we coped with situations from our childhood when we were younger, and then even though the world has changed, our world has changed, and we no longer need it, we keep this maladaptive coping skill. So it might have been adaptive or useful or necessary or the only thing we had, and then it becomes a maladaptive skill as we get older because the world has changed. And so he still has this maladaptive need for attention even though he's older.
Get hold of your kid before he gets himself in serious trouble.
You can't keep telling people that pirates are coming.
But they are coming, and Dad's coming with them. He'll be home soon, I promise.
And so there you can see what his reasons for was this. One is because it's part of his hopes. He hopes that when the pirates come, so will be his father. And so he's not going to be alone having to take care of his mom who is sick. And when we miss someone, we can often get lost in these fantasy worlds when we're coping with things alone. Plus, sometimes we're projecting. It's easier to think about pirates than my mom is here sick and I'm all alone. So it's also a distraction technique. And I think that he seriously needs this attention. His mom not being well, she can't probably give him the amount of attention she would be able to. And so because of that, he's seeking his attention elsewhere. And remember, people will take positive attention first, negative attention next, because even negative attention is better than no attention at all.
Even if he doesn't come.
He will. I know he will. Then you'll start feeling better.
You're right. Of course you're right.
And she doesn't want to take away his hope. Sometimes that's all that we have to kind of cling to. The thought of him being alone, that his father may not come and his mother may get sick and may die. And we often think that children don't really know this, but they're so much more intelligent and aware than we often give them credit for. And so this has probably been something that he's been worried about for a really long time.
Mom? Mom? Mom!
Pirates are here.
And so now here he is going through another one of these traumatic moments like he did in the past. And again, he's all alone and he's not believed and he's reliving that pain.
Why won't anybody believe me?
And so often if you see this child that's acting out or acting poorly behaved, often people think, oh, what a bad child, or what a horrible person, or how could you do all of these horrible things? They see this and they judge this, but really underneath that, this is a child that probably needs love and needs attention and perhaps has been neglected and just needs that one person to be able to believe them, look at them, listen to them, and care about them, because that's what they so desperately need. And I think that it sometimes is just one adult or one person in their life to be able to do that can change someone completely around. And so my heart kind of goes out for Usopp and the way that he copes with all of the difficulties that he's been through.
I believe you.
Again, those words are so beautiful. When you are so desperate for something and then you finally get it, it's just such a nice feeling.
Kaya, there's pirates in the house.
I know you invited them.
No, not those pirates. The other pirates.
I love that Usopp, though, has this courage. He's scared, he's nervous, but he's still gonna make sure to try to save his friends. So I think that a lot of people may only see him, especially if they watch the show, probably not if they watch the manga, but may only see him as someone that is telling tall tales and is hiding behind everyone else. But when push comes to shove, the people that he cares about, he wants to be able to protect, and he'll risk himself in order to be able to do that.
You're in danger.
Usopp, you're not making any sense.
Please, Kaya, we gotta get out of here.
We can have some.
No, don't! Call Claudor. He's the one trying to hurt you. He killed Mary.
But you can see that she doesn't fully believe him because she's listened to all of his different tall tales. And so she questions him more than she probably would if everything that he told her was always exactly the truth. She knows that sometimes he gets lost in his fantasies and he enjoys them.
Mary. He was here only a few hours ago.
Yeah, now he's dead.
And that's the thing, is that if your personality type is always going above and beyond and doing too much and being kind of the clown, when you need people to take you seriously, sometimes they will not because of that. And that's the cost of making the fish that you caught larger every single time. People start to go, oh, they're not always as accurate as they need them to be.
He does have a certain grace about him. Like a frantic, uncoordinated
Sea slug.
That's it.
I love that about Usopp. I love how much joy that he feels. I love that he dances and doesn't really care, that he can gather all of this happiness. I think that for a lot of times, for people that have lived through difficulty and hardship, that they grab all of those grains of happiness and moments around them. And personality type is kind of hardwired. If we see the world as always, you know, the positive sides to things, even in difficult situations, you can be this ray of light. And so even though they're kind of mocking him because he has this joy, I think that it is a beautiful trait that he has, and I think that that's why he's so endearing. I think to myself, is he masking his pain through this happiness? I think that that's another thing that often happens, especially if we fear abandonment, that we may come off with this happy exterior because we fear that if people saw the pain or the hardship or the darkness inside of us, that they might reject us. And so that's my other question when I see him dancing, is that the mask that he wears, that he sometimes hides behind this happiness so that people don't really see how much pain that sometimes he can be in, because he thinks that if they see that, it'll be another reason that people will leave him.
That's what he's like. Look at him, like he doesn't have a care in the world.
I just like him dancing backwards. And because of that, though, what can often happen is people can end up becoming caretakers. They're so worried about creating controversy, about saying something that other people may not like, that they'll always say yes, and they end up being a doormat and feeling like they're not respected and end up having animosity, but they'll never let anyone know because if they did, they're worried about being abandoned again. And so this personality type can often also have caretaking syndrome, where they'll care for everyone else, but not themselves.
Too bad, little one. Just when we're starting to have some fun.
And that ingenuity of that you don't always have to be able to face things head on. I think that people often feel that you should always confront something and say something and be really straight with it, and that that's a better way of dealing with it. But sometimes you have to be a little bit more creative or be more strategic, and that might be the smarter way to be able to get through things. And that's what he has, because he's not the strongest or the best of fighters. He uses his ingenuity, his creativity, to be able to figure out different situations, and that often happens, especially to children, when they've spent a lot of time alone. One is they can often get these wild fantasy worlds, but that can make them really creative. And also it can end up inspiring them to really want something in a different way than other people will, because they haven't gone through the same amount of groupthink. Groupthink meaning that we all are going to think the exact same way and I have to do everything that the group does. Because Usopp's already kind of used to being alone. If he goes by things a little bit different than everyone else, that's okay too, because he's used to that.
Gotcha.
Hey, neck flaps! Where you going? You haven't even—
I just like the insult, neck flaps. But I guess maybe to a fish person that would be like a compliment.
You haven't even tried my hot sauce.
That still won't save you. My skin is tougher than bullets.
Maybe you should try one of my new patented fire rounds.
And I can see that the people, if they've heard of Usopp and his tall tales, that they may not really take him that seriously while he's talking about it either.
The great Captain Usopp fails another notorious villain. And no one's around to see it. It's okay. They'll believe me.
No, they probably won't, because no one believes you. But it's just so sad that this is the one thing that he wants. When he tells this story, everyone's gonna kind of be like, you really sure that this really happened or not? The thing that he would want to do is start to be really kind of accurate with what he says. His stories have proof and be able to have other people there and kind of keep them in line with what actually happened. Now, it's okay to add a little bit to your truth to make it a little bit more interesting and alter that. That's fine. There's no real harm in that. But if you do it all the time and when the facts really do matter, that's when it may become a problem.
Completely alone. Surrounded by fishmen. The great Captain Usopp staring death in the face.
He is really good though at telling a story to be able, he's practiced for this long and now he's gonna have his moment. He's definitely gonna try to use it to get as much affirmation as possible. And when you've gone through that need to have affirmation, it might end up being like this endless pit that no matter how much people like you or give you attention, it's never enough. And what you would want to do is you want to be able to really believe yourself and develop more of a healthy self-esteem instead of not believing in yourself that it doesn't really matter what you do. Your value isn't in that. That the more people that like you doesn't actually make you a better person.
I single-handedly defeated Arlong and his deadly crew.
With a little help, of course. I mean, I guess I wasn't completely alone.
But I like that everyone's there kind of listening. I think that a lot of times if someone is telling a story and is not giving kind of the accolades to the other people that were there, people can get really upset. And so you want to make sure, especially if you're in a leadership role, that you shine the light on everyone else. A lot of other people are also wanting affirmation and to be able to be recognized for the parts that they played. But of course, Luffy is going to have the best reaction.
3 cheers for Captain Usopp! We couldn't have done it without him!
That's why we love Luffy. Luffy does exactly what everyone hopes for, and the way that his face beams afterwards, it's just really beautiful. He knows what everyone's wound is and he knows how to fill it just perfectly. You don't have to lie to get attention, as you can get all the knowledge you need to be as interesting as you want with today's sponsor, Brilliant.org. To learn a new skill and get prepared for whatever life has to throw at you. Learn, enjoy, grow with Brilliant's ever-growing new set of courses. Brilliant makes college-level courses available to help you be as smart as a whip. Each course is designed for high-velocity learning to help you stay focused and reach your goals really fast. And Brilliant makes learning like a game with fun features that let you challenge yourself, compete with others, so it never gets boring. We also know that when learning is more fun and engaging, you absorb that knowledge more quickly and you remember it better because it just sticks more. Brilliant has thousands of lessons from foundational to advanced math, AI, data science, neural networks, and many more, with new lessons being added monthly. I've so far covered their courses on algebra, logic, geometry, and I found all of them really engaging and easy to comprehend. I did their courses on logic with challenging problem-solving exercises where I got to construct critical thinking skills, which are the basis for mathematical reasoning. And it was enjoyable and interactive because my favorite part to learn is when it's visual and interactive, because that's the kind of learner I am. And I also liked that I could change the pace that I was learning at without any pressure. They also have new courses such as How Technology Works, which is good for all of us to learn how we use tech and why, and Thinking in Code. And if you're still not sure, why don't you just try everything that Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days. Just visit brilliant.org/Georgia Dow or click on the link in the description. The first 200 of my people will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. So just click on the button on the screen or head on over to brilliant.org/Georgia Dow. Clicking on that button really does help out my channel, so thank you, and thank you to brilliant.org. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video. So those are some of my favorite moments and a little bit of his reasoning of why he's always telling a tall tale. You can let me know your favorite Usopp moments in the comments below. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video.